Hello, this is John Wilder, historian of Aleppo Shrine, coming to you once again from the temple. I realized that our last video tour was about a year or so ago in March of last year. It's currently July 1st. I'm up here to get some stuff ready for the parades this weekend and thought I might give you guys an updated tour of the museum and archives. Starting out front, this case, we've got a few new items in here from our early history. A couple cards from from our charter member and first recorder. A few more things from the hospital as things come in. Some early photos. Some great piece from the Springfield Hospital laying of the cornerstone. That article back there, we got a scrapbook from them, which has been great. So we've digitized that and shared that with them. But the other thing I wanted to show you, well, first of all, we still have the old museum room, which is now officially the archives as opposed to our museum room, so still digging in there. But we've been given some more wall space, so brought out some of the old panoramic photos. I want to thank the New Bedford Masonic Temple they found a few and donated them. This one, 1913 outing. I haven't replaced the glass on that because unfortunately the photos stick into the glass, but some of the other outings. 1911 Imperial, 1941, and that is, yes, that's still the same bean pot that we tow in parade sometimes. Apparently once in a parade it was rather windy, and that blew off the trailer and down into a river, and they had to fish it out. So that's a well-known one. 1923 in Washington, D.C. And look how many drums they had. They used to call them the Aleppo Artillery because they had these big 4 bass drums that were played like timpanis on wheels behind the band. And let's see if we can find the guy. Oh yes, here, right here, this guy holding what looks like an old street light. That was actually a semaphore system with some that lit up and told the guys in the back of the band what song they were playing next, because in its heyday the Aleppo band was the largest fraternal band in the world. In the 30s, I think it had almost 300 members. Up top we have we had this framed recently. This is the largest panoramic photo. It is longer than I am tall, at 5 feet 9 inches. 1926. Sorry, brief interruption. Ended up giving a tour to somebody who dropped by. But yes, 1926, they took the SS American Legion to Philadelphia for the Sesquicentennial Exposition. So you can see them on the dock there in Philadelphia. Here, 1928, went to Miami, stopped in D.C. on the way. Some great shots of the Air Patrol. Used to different platoons. You had the Pilgrims and some Continentals back there. Over here, some of our other outings. This picture here, this is the one that started it all. I bought this picture shortly after joining Aleppo, and that was hanging in my house for a while. 1922 outing, and inspired me to keep digging into our history. Some more. The outings were, you know, multi-day barbecues. They'd have bands and parades and games and different things. Here you have some of the more modern, more recent photos from, they used to have the All-Masonic Day. So you had all the appendant bodies. This one, I believe, was just a ceremonial. All the different units. And then a few years later, unfortunately, you can see how things shrunk. Now, these photos of the circus and rodeo are going to come down and replace those with the cartoon notices that everybody loves. A lot of people don't realize those are notices, so they're going to, we're going to frame the fronts and the backs to show that they were indeed notices, and label them, you know, what dates they were. So as we turn the corner here, we have some of our the more interesting covers from the old Aleppo News magazine that ran 1935 to 1939. And then as we come to the museum room here, biggest difference you'll see now is got this nice glass door thanks to Noble Brian Fallon and his team. We're doing some renovations, so come into the museum room and you can see some of the updates. So biggest thing, maybe I don't know if you can tell here, but it's a lot brighter in here. Special thanks to the Hans, who gave us a very generous donation, and Noble Sean Robichaud, our electrician, came in and installed this great LED track lighting system, and he's going to work with us and get us some more power in here so we can light up some of these cases. But what we did was this past winter we talked to our good friends over at the Mass National Guard Museum in Concord, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Love and Staff Sergeant Matt Ahern, who was also Worshipful Matt Ahern, and they donated some of their old display cases to us. So we've been able to expand. It's been fantastic. Things are constantly in motion in here, so constantly moving things around and finding new spots. So like moving, you know, here's a couple more of the panoramic photos. This one came out from New Bedford. That is the masked bands from the 1924 Imperial, led by John Philip Sousa. And then I think there's another one behind. Yeah, so this is another 20s in the Los Angeles Coliseum. I think that one came out of the band room or the air patrol room, so we gotta find those spaces. Our library collection has grown. We now have pretty much a full set of Imperial proceedings. Those may go into storage as we get more books. I mean, I use those for reference all the time, but they're not exactly interesting for the casual visitor to view. But we have a lot more books and magazines from different temples. We're working on photo albums and scrapbooks for each of the units, so that, you know, you can come and view some of their older photos. Moving along here, I put this display together because we look at fezzes and they've changed over the years, and different temples have different traditions, but here at Aleppo there is sort of a code to them, depending if you have a regular embroidered, gold embroidered, jeweled, bullion embroidery, or, you know, the creme de la creme, the jeweled on bullion embroidery. So that just gives you an idea of the different groups and different offices that receive those. Down here, I don't think I showed you last time, these are some examples of the Shrine magazine. We have a full selection of the full run of the Shrine magazine, which ran from 26 to 28. The Crescent magazine, which predated it and followed it, we have not a complete collection, but I believe it is the largest collection in existence. A lot of thanks to Noble Randy Coe, who we mentioned last time, 1910 to 1926 and 28 to 32. And then the Aleppo News magazine, this is actually before the first issue, they made a mock-up, so most of the pages are blank, but that was a pretty cool find. But again, you know, we have, those are a lot of the crescents, and then a full run of the Aleppo News And all of those have been digitized, so those are available online. You'll see some empty spots on the walls because we've just pulled some of those photos to be hung up out in the mezzanine we just showed you. So we're going to be filling those in with other stuff as we get out of storage. This is one of the cases given to us by the Mass National Guard Museum. This is some of our earliest unit items that we have. So great summer cap from 1911. The electrical light up sets that they used to wear when they used to have night parades, especially at Imperial. We talked about that uniform last time. If you want to see that uniform in action, you can actually see the gent who wore it right here, 1938. Staff captain. Some of the swords used to be carried by the Yard Patrol. So they all used to wear the same uniform, the patrol and the band. So they used to color code the tassels, which is sort of interesting. Some of our older trophies. Here's one of the red uniforms that was used for many years. Some of our club stuff we covered last time. Got a few more items from Judge Wilson's family. We've moved the circus display over here, and we'll show you where the Masonic stuff went in a little bit. The drum is over here with some of the Aleppo sheet music. We worked with our band a few years back, and we actually recorded them playing the Aleppo March in two-step, so that was pretty cool to hear in person. Over here, we have this display, which on the bottom is our all-star high school football game that we host every year. So a couple of we've got a jersey from '98, and then we have the high school all-star hockey game that we also host. And Illustrious Havener was kind enough to donate the 2 puck drops from the boys game and the girls game from his year. So that was pretty cool. This is our selection of potentate stuff. We moved that from the other case. So a big shout out to Todd Smith, who's the grandson of Fred Duncan, who was potentate in the 50s. He gave us a number of items, including the set of 3 commandery swords. So you have the Sir Knight with the black handle, the Past Commander with the white handle, and then the traveling sword. I'm going to make a video about that sometime because I'll show you how the scabbard actually came apart in 2 pieces so that you could fit them into your briefcase or your suitcase. A couple more past potentate fezzes, older ones. I believe one of those is Edgar Turner's. He was one of the original owners of the Patriots, and he owned New England distribution for 7-Up soda, which is why we had a vintage one in there. Also the Shaw family, illustrious Fred Shaw and illustrious Rick Shaw, his son. So Rick gave us a number of items, including his father's past potentate jewel. Some of the gavels that they used to give out to the potentates. The gold one is Fred Duncan's. And then the sashes that they used to wear in the early 90s, that was Fred Shaw's. And then another one from the Duncan collection is this awesome photo from 1953 of Aleppo at the Imperial session, but just the past potentates and officers had their banquet at the Waldorf Astoria. All in their white dinner jackets. Back over here, we've got our potentate's throne we've showed you before, along with our little friend from the given to us by one of the shrine clubs. Bouncing Bess, of course, and we didn't mention last time some of the items from when the hot sands were really hot. Every year the Gardner, I always mix them up. It was the Gardner Shrine Club or the Fitchburg Leominster, but they give them must be the Gardner because it's the Gardner chair. So this one was given to us by Dennis Riebel on behalf of Bunny Rose, Al Rose's widow. So, and she was here for an event not too long ago, and she came in and got to see it here, and we got a great picture of her sitting in the chair. So those are presented to the potentate each year by that club, so that's a awesome piece to have. And you may notice some of the fezzes are missing. That's because as we actually managed to get a group of 7 mannequins or forms from a tuxedo shop or a wedding shop that was closing, so we've been able to bring some of those down and put them with the uniforms, which has been great. Some we've added to some of our glassware, gotten a few more items. The old Syria collection that everyone loves to collect. All the different figurines. And then down here, I'm thinking I may put I want to do a display of the Prince Hall Shriners. We have some great stuff from our local Prince Hall Shriners that meet in Boston. A few more items from Harvey as he continues to attend the Imperial sessions. And then over here, still got, our Imperial souvenirs and different events, but we've got a lot more of them. That pen holder was given, I believe, to representatives in 1915. I always like showing these off. This is a 53 Imperial Session clothes brush with the traveling kit, and everything's still in the plastic, including the toothpaste and shaving cream. Similar to this 1930. It's got a comb in the brush. I love finding stuff in the original boxes. A couple more items from the Daughters of Isis, the early Ladies Auxiliary. A few more shelves to fill up, so have a couple different design display ideas. Got a few more things. This came in with a lot of items from sorry, I'm blanking on his name. I want to say it's Noble McGee from Zenobia Shrine. He gave us a number of items, very generous, from a collection that came into them. So that's been great. That's a lot of items we didn't have. The 1906-1907 Imperial Session, the 06 was supposed to be in Los Angeles, but for the Great San Francisco earthquake, it was moved to Chicago the last minute. So most of the badges still say Los Angeles. So in 1907, it went back to Los Angeles, so they ended up reusing a lot of the designs and recycling a lot of the badges. And then this great one from Islam Temple in San Francisco shows 2 nobles with a camel with a water bucket fighting the fires of the Great San Francisco earthquake. So I've always loved that piece. As mentioned before, we hosted the Imperial in 1895, 1984, and 2000. A couple of cool items here is the decanters that they used to have. So they did the Paul Revere statue with the noble holding a child, so that was a decanter. Cool thing is this one's a little bit different because this was the proof piece that they actually, before production, that was actually presented to the Imperial Potentate, and we have that. So that's a pretty cool piece. Up here, pulling a few things out of storage. That's going to be the Northeast conventions. Issue of the Aleppo News from one of the early 1939 when we hosted it. So some stuff in there. This came to us recently from Grand Lodge from Nile, which is in Seattle, but this was the Shrine Club in Japan that was under Nile's jurisdiction. That's a pretty cool piece there. Some of the other decanters from the era. And then more stuff from other shrines. Just getting some interesting stuff over the years. Aloha Temple paperweight made from volcanic stone. Like these Legion of Honor caps from Ismailia in Buffalo, New York. And then we got a few of the older 1970s uniforms from the pipe band. I've got to ask them for a few more pieces to accessories that go with those, such as the belting, and then one of their side drums, which was painted up to look like the British drums. And then we filled in this display quite a bit. So this is the, if you remember, the clandestine organizations. So Mecca 1 out of Connecticut, I don't think so. We've got a 3rd degree diploma and letter appointing a district deputy from the Most Worshipful Alpha Grand Lodge of Masons in Massachusetts. And then we actually have Alhambra Shrine number 1 of Boston, Mass, clandestine. And we have Aleppo number 1 of Ohio, clandestine. And we have the Imperial Potentate from Aesop Shrine, clandestine. Some of the other groups, I've got some interesting ones. So a group that's confused a lot for Masonic because they have the square and compasses there with the Arm and Hammer. The Junior Order of United American Mechanics, I believe it was. That one's out of Haverhill. The Grange, Oddfellows. These ones are confused for Masonic Knights Templar all the time. It's the Knights of Malta, which had almost identical regalia. Not the Order of Malta from Commandery, but the Knights of Malta. I believe they were Catholic, but I'd have to double check that. But you can usually tell because you have the red square behind the Maltese cross. But other than that, almost identical regalia. So I mentioned before, we've moved our family of masonry display. So we have a full Commandery uniform. I still need to get a belt and a sword out of storage. That one's from my own Commandery, Boston Commandery. And then working our own Matt Wassell, who's in the Minutemen with me, is also a clown. He's past Grand Monarch, so the national leader for the grotto. So I'm working with him to get a grotto fez from each of the Massachusetts grottos. So we have some of them here. And then we've been able to expand our family of masonry display with one of the cases from the Mass National Guard. So we've got a lot of different Scottish Rite and beautiful past master's apron from Henry Price Lodge, some grotto jewels, got a lot of different Blue Lodge ribbons, some of the different awards, the Henry Price and the Just Warren, a couple of beautiful York Rite jewels. The one in the case with the watch fobs was donated by Noble Earl Bethune. It's his grandfather's. Earl's very active recent recipient of the Joseph Warren Medal, the Robert Gardner Wilson Jr. Medal, which is the highest award that Aleppo can give. Very well deserved, Earl. So we've got that. And then moving to the center, we've rearranged this with more display cases. So again, this is Aleppo specific items. We've got more stuff we've got to pull out of storage, finding more and more every time I spend some time digging around. Different souvenirs from outings. These are celluloid shrine claws, and we even have the original brochure. You could get those for $2 shipped in the 20s. So we have a few from the different temples to show those off. This came into us recently. Nice piece. Good condition too. And then just put this display together. This is some of our, what I'll call generic shrine jewelry and a couple other things, but beautiful large claw from, I believe it's from Lulu Temple, which was donated by our own Flips, the clown. That was given to him by another brother. I believe it's 1888, but you don't see a lot with the fez hanging down. You see the stars, you see camels, different things, Maltese cross, but you don't see a lot with the fez, so that was a cool one. And then some different older screwback pins, stick pins, those, sort of Art Deco bracelets, and then a few interesting watch fobs. The ball that unfolds the cross, and then the spinner that makes the square and compasses. And then this is probably the largest York-Rite watch fob I've seen. That was found in a box of random stuff in the recorder's office. And then a few smaller claws. That one, I believe that one's for my Rem Temple. And then another piece, thanks to Matt, is Matt Wassell's Aleppo Grotto. So I said, well, I've got plenty of Aleppo fezzes. I've got Aleppo clandestine, and then we also put out the call. We have the Prince Hall's Aleppos. I believe they're, forgive me if I'm wrong, I think it's Syracuse, New York. So Aleppo number 88. So I said, I want one of all the Aleppos. Provost Guard. We've used some of the blank space on these cases to put out our pennant collection. I love old banners and pennants. I've got a lot from my college alma mater at home, but shrine pennants and Masonic pennants are always something I'm looking out for. If you guys see Hiram and Solomon cigars making the rounds, this is their shrine humidor that comes with their Shriner cigars. So I said, well, we got to have one of those. Our club display, a few more items, more uniforms and coats, Medical Corps, Cape Cod Fire Brigade, cycles, clown jumpsuit, our green fez, which was honorary ambassador. This one belonged to Governor Ed King, who helped get the land for the Boston Hospital. Here we even have a display of uniforms from other temples, because we have a number of those. So, like I said, we've built the Aleppo archives, but I really wanted to serve all of Shrinedom. So we do have a collection from other temples. We're always happy to take new items to show differences and show different temples. Like, there are some similarities. A lot of them have these short jackets with those designs. A lot of these came from a regalia company that had closed, and we were able to get a lot of items that were production samples. This one from Osman is actually probably about 1900, 1910. It's the old military, basically the late 1800s version of a fatigue uniform. Here we have our Air Patrol officer's uniform, which is the opposite colors of the patrolman's. Some more pennants. And then this is some of our unit items, some of the not so old units, although everything seems to be old nowadays. The old lighting unit fez and headphones and mic that came from our good friend Doug Dodge, who recently became captain, so he let us do a little bit of digging. Some of the other old uniforms. All the different patches. You can see some of them, how when we moved from Boston to Wilmington, so they would change them out and update the patches. Some of the badges. Old megaphone from the chanters when they used to parade. And the air patrolman with the old bloomers and spats. The old polka dots band with the ruffled shirt and old dinner jacket. some of the flags and different things, and a few more Wilson medals we've got from our various recipients. The clean is from the old pooper scooper that used to follow the mounted patrol. So we found the red letter one, and then our good friend, Noble and Right Worshipful Ron Higgins, was cleaning out at his house and found the older green letter one. So that was pretty cool to have both of them. So yeah, just wanted to give you guys an update. This is probably a little longer than I thought, and those of you who know me know I can talk about a lot of this stuff. Oh, I did make Bouncing Bess here a member of my unit, the Minutemen, because we have a Fez that came in misspelled. So she is a lieutenant in the Minutemen. But yeah, like I said last time, and this time, we're happy to take anything Masonic that needs a new home. We work with a lot of brothers and different groups that have museums and displays, so we're all about sharing the love and finding the right homes for different things that come in. I'm always sending different things off to various places, whether it's the Scottish Rite Museum in Lexington, or Aleppo has a large display. Some of the different lodges have different displays. I believe it's in Gardner again. They have they're working on getting a Fez from every shrine temple. We don't really have the space for that, so we mostly look for some of the unique ones, and then we've shared some of our regular ones from other temples with them. And then, as I mentioned before, we still have the large archives where we work. You know, we have a lot on the paper side of things and the documentation. That's how I find out a lot about what all this is going through the photos and the documentation, and interviewing older members, but some of them, you know, outdate the members who are still with us. So it's going through the photos and finding those connections. But you never know what you're going to find. And I just, you know, as I said in the first video, the whole first video, I said it was a way to thank those who supported me, and I continue to be in awe of the support I received. Even today, I came up just to grab some flags for a parade, and wouldn't you know it, there was a box of stuff waiting for me. So, you know, I can't thank everyone enough for the support that we have. We've been given credit in publications that have been written in the recent history of the Shrine Hospital system. We provided them a number of photos and some documentation. We had a professor from a college in upstate New York who we've given a lot of information to. They were doing research on shrine sheet music, and then they were doing some of the material culture, and they actually came out here for a visit just to see Bouncing Bess the Camel in person. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm always on the lookout for something new for the collection, and still finding stuff that we have here. You never know what's going to turn up, and it seems like as soon as I give up on trying to find something specific, it turns up. So it's been a blessing finding a lot of this stuff and being able to share it and tell the story. There's still a lot of things in personal collections, a lot of things that end up in families, and unfortunately a lot of things that end up on the open market. But then again, we've been able to reclaim a number of items, been able to find another and acquire them, thanks to some generous nobles and the abilities that we have here at Aleppo. So we're always happy to share what we have and to show it off. I'm always interested in hearing from other temples. It's a sad fact that a lot of temples don't have the buildings that they used to. And I mean, even Aleppo, like I mentioned, the band used to have almost 300 members. Now, well, they're hanging on, but not by much. A lot of the units are struggling. So it's nice to be able to preserve a lot of their history, and hopefully, we can't live in the past, but hoping that it inspires the members to work for a better future. Because unfortunately, if there's no members, then I'm collecting for nobody here. It's just going to be a room full of stuff. But that's why we love when people come by and visit. We have this room open now during all member functions at the shrine, as many as we can. But it's now on a code system on the door, so we're happy to come by and do special tours, or an officer or someone in the office can gladly open it up for you and show you around. But yeah, this is here for you. This is here for the nobles, for the families, the friends of the shrine, and the future nobles. I mean, I love talking to people who say, oh yeah, my grandfather was a member. And I'm able to go through our records and send them a photo that they haven't seen before, or, give them some information. It's great. And then a lot of the times I'm able to hear stories that I didn't know. And it gives more of a background to the person or the item. I've learned so much about Fred Duncan now from his grandson. The stories he's told. I mean, I'm trying to get him to write a book about his grandfather, because possibly, one of the most interesting guys, who came through the shrine. And to me, before meeting his grandson, it was just another name and photo on the wall. So it's you never know. And I'll mention we only met because of one of the posts I put on social media, and it happened to have a ceremonial program from when Fred Duncan was potentate, and his grandson saw it and commented, hey, it's cool to see my grandfather's signature. So of course that opened the floodgates there, and we met up a couple times, and he shared a lot of information and a lot of photos and artifacts with me. I've put together a scrapbook in our library corner here with all the photos. But yeah, it's you never know who's out there, who's got a story to tell, and who thinks that maybe there's no one wants to hear their story. But we definitely do. We want to hear the stories, and if you have something that needs a new home, we're happy to work with you to help preserve that item and the stories behind it. So once again, thank you, and be sure to drop by and see us sometime. And until then, stay safe and stay happy.